Hello there, this is Welsh ASMR 82. Hey, how you doing? This is probably going to be such an exciting video for some of us. It's not going to be like an ASMR video at all, but I'll try and stay calm myself. So much to talk about. Let's just talk about the highlights really quickly. We're going to be talking in this ASMR football video about the World Cup Qualifiers. And things that I'm going to mention are Scotland, Republic of Ireland, Wales. We'll talk Norway. We'll talk about all the countries that have qualified in Europe. We'll talk about Iraq. We'll talk about Haiti, about Curacao. We will talk about the DR Congo and therefore about Nigeria and Cameroon as well. Yeah, lots and lots of things to talk about today. I'll even try and get to Mexico being booed by their home fans and the USA having a mass brawl with Paraguayan players at the end of the match. So we have got a lot to get through, and I'm going to try and stay calm because as a Welshman and as a Celt, I am absolutely buzzing, and I know many of you are as well. I think it was like today, I'm recording this on Wednesday, the matches were yesterday and Tuesday, I'm releasing it on Thursday, so if you're Scottish, tell me, did you go to work on Wednesday, or was it an unofficial national holiday in Scotland? Okay, should we look at the final groups then in the European qualifications? We'll start there and we'll work our way out. We'll talk about Africa and Asia and of course North America as well. And by the end of the video I'm hoping we'll be able to have a little look at the playoffs, because we have most of the teams but not all of them in this video, and I'm recording this before the playoffs have been drawn in Europe, but by the time this video comes out they will have been drawn. Okay, Group A had a little bit of a wobble, but Germany made it in the end. Congratulations. Germany qualified from this group. Slovakia were very brave throughout, as were Northern Ireland. Luxembourg surprised me. Very tough group for them, but I thought they would do a little bit better than that. But I think it shows how much Northern Ireland have progressed in recent years after having quite a few lean years, shall we say. And Northern Ireland, thanks to the Nations League, have also gotten into the playoffs despite finishing outside of the top two. So well done to them. Group 2, this was one of the surprising ones because Switzerland, fair enough, came top. Sweden didn't come anywhere near. Graham Potter, new manager of Sweden, managed to get a draw in his first game. Oh, actually not in his first game, he lost his first game. Oh no, I think they only played one game, didn't they? To try and get to grips with this team that's vastly underachieving, like massively underachieving for the talent they have, particularly up front. And then I expected Slovenia to be challenging, but it's Kosovo that have come out of nowhere, and they are second and make it into the playoffs. So well done to them, brilliant for Switzerland. And curiously, Sweden also make the playoffs because of their Nations League performance. So 3 of the teams in this group can, well, one's made it and 2 still could. Obviously we're going to take a pause and talk about this group. It was a bit of a crazy one. I thought Greece would be pushing harder. I think Belarus did better than expected, because even in the games they lost, they still performed well. There was that game in Hampden Park that I thought they scared the Scottish a little bit, but Scotland managed to get through it. I think the one word we're going to use about the Scottish in this qualifying campaign, and I don't think they'll mind, is jammy. And if you're American and you don't know what jammy is, it just means extremely lucky. So many times, even if they didn't quite get it right, if they played badly, they still won. and if they lost, then so did Denmark. Unexpected, or Denmark drew with Belarus. So Denmark threw it away in the last 2 games. They could have won it and qualified on this match day, and then they were in charge. They went down obviously to that magnificent overhead kick by McTominay, but when I looked at the half-time stats, obviously I was busy watching the Welsh match because they were on at the same time. My brother texted me and said, "Oh my god, McTominay's goal is absolutely amazing." So I saw it on the BBC website at half-time in the Wales match. But then the stats were that, you know, nothing else had happened. Scotland's one and only shot on goal was an amazing goal. And then Denmark had 10 in the first half. Then they equalised. And then it all kind of went a bit chaotic. We'll take a look at those in detail in a second, but yeah, Denmark finishing second, going into the playoffs. Scotland had qualified for the first World Cup since the first World Cup that I really started to love football, which was in 1998. And in that one, they drew Brazil in the group stage. So yeah, I wonder what the chances are on Scotland getting Brazil this time as well. Okay, and they did push them really far in that match, actually. It was only 2-1, and it was an own goal in the end that saved Brazil. I remember watching the match. I was only 16 at the time. So, Group D, France, you know, as we expected, went through. Ukraine were in a shootout with Iceland to finish second, and they managed to do it. Well done to them, they make the playoffs. And Iceland finished third. Just thinking whether Iceland are in the playoffs as well. I can't remember. I'll have to take a look. I don't think they are, which is kind of cruel because I thought they did really well. Okay, Group E, Spain, as we expected, dominant, but after that embarrassing result against Spain in the previous round, Turkey really took it to Spain in the last match. We'll take a look at that score in a minute, but I was texting my Turkish friend all the way through the match, and yeah, it was at one point I thought Turkey were going to win, so quite exciting, really good for Turkish football. Georgia finishing in third, and Bulgaria beating Georgia on the last match day to come back from a straight run of losses in this very difficult group. Cruel on Bulgaria, really. Again, take a deep breath. Group F, Portugal finished top, as we suspected, but with a draw, a loss and a win in their last 3 matches, made it a bit hard for themselves. Ireland, just absolutely amazing round of matches, the 2 match days, with the big win against Portugal. And then obviously the last minute heroics of Parrott in Budapest against a Hungarian side that frankly thought they were through. Yeah, just absolutely amazing bravery, and we'll look at those results in closer detail in a second. But I was watching, I actually paid on Amazon Prime to watch the Irish match, and it was start to finish an absolute spectacle. It must have been awful if you're Irish, but from a sort of semi-neutral, I was obviously supporting Ireland. Yeah, it was an amazing match, really good football. Hungary will be devastated. I feel really sorry for them. They haven't qualified for a World Cup again. Szoboszlai was the best player on the pitch, like by a mile, apart from Parrott. But Parrott stuck the ball into the back of the net 3 times. But I think Szoboszlai was just absolutely outstanding, and to not see him at a World Cup is going to be a shame. Group G, Poland did their best to push the Netherlands, but I suspected the Netherlands would finish top. Finland came back from a poor start, and Malta got way more points than I was expecting. They finished above Lithuania in the end, which I was very surprised at. So next one, Group H, Austria finishing top only just. There was a point, quite a long period in the match against Bosnia, where Bosnia were finishing top. So Bosnia fall into the playoffs. Romania will also be in the playoffs due to the Nations League. Cyprus got a lot more points than I was expecting. Well done to them, and San Marino obviously bottom, but some plucky performances from them. Group I, oh my god, Norway have qualified for their first World Cup in absolutely ages, and how they battered Italy in San Siro in Milan, and I think Italy are probably getting those playoff jitters again because they've missed the last 2 World Cups, and in terms of teams that have won a World Cup, I think off the top of my head they would be the only one that hasn't qualified yet. So let me just think quickly. Brazil's qualified, Uruguay's qualified, France has qualified, England, Spain, Germany, Argentina. Who am I forgetting? There's someone important I'm forgetting, I think. Yeah, so that's what I can think of as a second. So yeah, I think they're the only team that has won multiple World Cups, but hasn't qualified, and hasn't qualified for the last 2, which is, yeah, so they're in the playoffs. And they, I don't know if they would be a good, like, obviously historically you would not want to draw Italy, you'd much rather draw Bosnia or Kosovo, but I don't know how their confidence is at the moment. Norway, on the other hand, highest scorers, I think, in qualifying, 32 goals, off the top of my head, in not an easy group. I'm trying to find a better one. I can't. It's like twice the amount that Germany scored. So yeah, very impressive campaign from Norway, and Mr. Haaland, of course, but is a team. I did say a couple of years ago on this channel that Norway won't get anywhere playing as individuals, and they've learnt that lesson. Well done to them. Group J. As a Welshman, it's always so stressful watching Wales. Even when we take on Liechtenstein, it's stressful. We'll talk about the matches in detail in a bit, but so chuffed we came second. I was absolutely convinced we would not make it. So we have finished second. We were going to be in the playoffs anyway, but now North Macedonia get into the playoffs instead, and Wales get seeded. So that means we're not going to have an away trip to Italy potentially in the first round. We might have to go there in the second round, who knows, but still. Highlights from that final match. It was near perfection. As a Welshman, I couldn't be prouder, and I just want to bottle it and drink it every day. It was wonderful. We'll come back to it in more detail in a bit, but seriously good performance against North Macedonia, who frankly are a very good team, and I'm not just saying that because it makes Wales look better. They did not lose to Belgium twice. They were unbeaten. They conceded 3 goals in the entire qualification campaign before we hit them for 7. In the previous qualification campaign, they beat Germany in the group stage, got to the playoffs and put out Italy. They are not to be messed with, and to beat them by that score, to beat them at all, I wasn't expecting, but to beat them by that heavy scoreline, I'm absolutely chuffed. Group K, England didn't just walk it, they smashed it. 22 goals, 0 conceded, no losses, no draws. The problem with this, however, I think England would do better being in a qualifying group with Spain or France or Germany or whatever, because these other teams just, they're too good for them, and they don't really know how good they are by the time they get to the competition. However, with the team they've got, I would expect them to get to a semi-final, if not a final, to be honest with you. But you know, they must be quite bored of playing against teams and whooping them every week. But well done to England. Well done to Albania, who get a playoff spot. Serbia narrowly missing out. And then lastly, Group L, Croatia, as expected, finished top. Well done to them. Czechia, apart from that loss against Faroe Islands, unexpected loss against a Faroe Island team who really impressed in this campaign, and a Montenegro side that underperformed, despite on the last match day they were winning against Croatia at one point. I think that group is kind of, apart from those two, it's as I expected it to be. Well done to Croatia, Czechia in the playoffs. Okay, should we take a look at the matches in detail then? So, let's see if I can... are they all in the round? Maybe I should do it by date. Do it by date. Otherwise we'll be all over the place. Okay, Thursday the 13th of November, Tuesday the 14th, there we are. Okay, so Hungary beat Armenia 1-0, Azerbaijan lost 2-0 to Iceland, Norway beating Estonia 4-1 with 2 goals from Haaland. Albania narrowly beating Andorra 1-0, England beating Serbia quite easily with goals from Saka and Eze on the 90th minute, but just completely crushed them really. France hammered Ukraine 4-0, 2 goals from Mbappe, another penalty. He is so good at penalties. And then of course this result. Troy Parrott, 2 goals to beat Portugal, and then obviously the Ronaldo incident where he gets sent off. Gotta love the Irish home fans. He was mocking the player who went down, you know, did the sort of crying tears thing, and then as he got sent off, all the Irish fans were like crying at him, teasing him. Of course, we don't actually know whether he's going to miss the first 2 matches of the World Cup now. So yeah, we'll see what the punishment's going to be. I haven't actually seen the incident. I've read about it, but I haven't seen it. So just absolutely amazing result. Obviously, it's going to be backs against the wall, but you know, there's an expected goal of 2, so higher than Portugal's. Portugal are getting to this, they need to get used to it really, where teams are just going to sit back and they have to try and break them down, and that's becoming a normal thing for Portugal now. People are terrified of them and the attacking talent that they have. So yeah, they just need to learn to be a bit more savvy on the break and in set pieces. Italy beating Moldova 2-0. Malta, really shocking, beat Finland in Finland 1-0. Well done to them. Montenegro beating Gibraltar 2-1, plucky scoreline from Gibraltar there. Croatia beat Faroe Islands 3-1 to end their slim chances of reaching second in the group. Germany beat Luxembourg 2-0, goals from FotMob, who cannot stop scoring at the moment. And this is what I was dreading at the time, but although it didn't matter in the end because of Denmark. But Poland needed to win their last match and to draw this match in order to finish higher than Wales in the rankings and therefore get a top number 1 seed in the playoffs. But that wasn't taken into account that Denmark wouldn't qualify in top spot, so Scotland have inadvertently nudged them down into the second seeds. Very good draw. They've had a decent qualifying campaign, Poland. If they hadn't been in with the Netherlands, then I think they may have topped their group. Slovakia narrowly, painfully, excruciatingly beating Northern Ireland to put them out of contention to get second place. Goal and the 91st minute by Bobček and Dubravka. Whenever there's a goalkeeper who's man of the match, it was like, oh. So broke Northern Irish hearts there. And then talking about weird results, 1-1. And the funny thing is, and you know me, I was a bit salty after the Belgium-Wales matches, but I did say that their tactics have not been quite right, because they do have absolute talent in that team. I don't like the manager. I've never liked him. I don't know how Belgium employ these managers that like fall up. He's a lovely guy, but Roberto Martinez, for example, I don't rate him. And now the new guy, I've never rated him either. And even Doku came out angrily to the press after the match and said that the manager and the team had not prepared them properly for this match. That's a weirdly specific thing to say. Does he mean that they were just told, like, oh, go out and do it, but they weren't told that Kazakhstan would be able to be so powerful on the break and so good at set pieces? They're not a team that you walk over anymore. Wales narrowly escaped with a 1-0 win. They hit the bar from a free kick in the 90th minute against us. My poor nerves on that night. And they were winning in Cardiff, if you remember. They had a penalty and were winning 1-0 before we scored 3. They are not a walkover. It's a long way to go. They beat Denmark at home in their last campaign, so I think people need to show them a little bit more respect. But an interesting comment from Doku. The manager sort of waved it away and said, oh, people are just upset because, they wanted to win, But he didn't say, I'm angry with us, we didn't perform well. He was saying, Doku was saying, I'm angry with the coaching team for not preparing us correctly. What exactly does he mean by that? That's very interesting. Austria beating Cyprus 2-0, Spain walking over Georgia 4-0, 2 more goals for Oyarzabal. And then Wales narrowly beating Liechtenstein, goal from Jordan James, lovely move. But then Jordan James and Ampadu, our captain on the night, both got yellow cards. Ampadu's was never a yellow card, it wasn't even a foul. And then I thought, oh god, we don't literally have any midfielders, apart from Sheehan, who plays in League One. And, well, I don't even think he's getting picked for his League One team most of the time. So I was thinking, oh god, we've got no midfielders now, that's fantastic. The goal, I think, was, we had a goal from Broadhead, lovely volley, ruled because one of the defenders may have been offside, but they showed the view and I couldn't see it. So that was quite harsh. And when you score early, that would have been in the 20th minute. When you score early against these teams, they sort of lose discipline then. I think we could have scored a couple more, but we weren't great, I'll be honest, we weren't great. Turkey beating Bulgaria 2-0, Çalhanoğlu with a penalty and then own goal from Chernev. And then Bosnia beating Romania 3-1, Dzeko still scoring goals. Romania were winning, and then they got the red card to Draguš before, there was 1-1, and they got a red card. So at least Romania have got the playoffs still left. I think they'll be disappointed about their performance in this group, but they have started to improve, that's for sure. Another crazy result, 2-2. Belarus, like I said, have shown signs, and of course they were winning in this match. Isaacson managed to get the equaliser. So, yeah, I think Belarus will be really pleased with their performance in this group. And that saved Scotland, because Scotland were 3-0 down. And then Doak and Christie scored 2 goals. They had a host of chances at the end of the match. It just wasn't going to happen for them. They thought they'd blown it, and then all of a sudden they saw that Denmark had drawn with Belarus, which was very unexpected. And very good performance on the attacking sense from Greece, and catastrophic for Denmark. Kosovo surprisingly beating Slovenia, a side that's renowned for their defensive strength, in Ljubljana. Then Switzerland delivering another loss to Sweden, 4-1. Goal from Imbolo, Xhaka, Ndoye and Manzembi. Very impressive qualifying campaign from the Swiss. No one ever says, like, oh, I don't want to get Switzerland in my group, but they're so solid every single time. And then obviously this game, I don't even know where to begin. Absolutely amazing, end-to-end football. 18 shots to 10, although Ireland had higher expected goals. It was just amazing. So Lukasz scored from a header. I thought it was offside for a while. I think it was like the 5th time they showed it. I could just see a little leg sticking out and playing him onside. Then they got a penalty. Very good ball over the top. Let me remind myself of the players. I think it was Malumbi played a ball over the top to Ogbene, who beat the offside and was taken down in the box. Then it was an absolute hell of a goal from Varga from outside the box. Didn't get closed down, and he smashed it into the top corner. I thought at that point, oh no, they look really confident. So they were winning 2-1. Then Troy Parrott got another goal, and at that stage they still needed to win it. It still wasn't enough, so that was on the 80th minute, and Hungary was still attacking at that point, and then they started to close down at this moment here, until the very last moment when Troy Parrott stuck his leg out, scored in the 96th minute to put them through, and I was convinced they threw everyone forward for the last minute of injury time, and I thought, oh my god, they're gonna concede a penalty, or it's gonna take a deflection and go in. But thank goodness for the Irish it didn't, and they managed to do it. So they are in the playoffs. Well done. Absolutely delighted for them. Devastated for Hungary, who were a really good quality team. When I watched them, I hinted earlier on, I thought Soboslai was absolutely world class, like 100 million, yeah, I agree. He was absolutely amazing. I'll tell you who I wasn't impressed with, Kürkeş. He falls over. You know, yeah, if you watch this channel, you know I cannot stand Theo Hernandez, formerly of AC Milan, now in Saudi Arabia, because every time someone looks at him, he flops on the floor. Well, Kürkeş has started doing the same thing. I was like, get up, and the referee just wasn't falling for it. And there was a moment right at the end where I think one of the throw-ins that sort of eventually led to the goal was because he just flopped on the floor, and it was very obvious that the Irish player didn't touch him, and they said, oh, just carry on, you just leave him on the floor if you want. Really shocked. I hate that technique where a defender shields the ball, is just stood on the line, and then they just fall to the floor and they get a free kick, and I'm like, it's not a free kick if you fall over, it's a free kick if you're pushed. It's starting to, you know, it's becoming a non-contact sport. So Ronaldo-less, but not goalless. So 9-1 against Armenia is an impressive result. Armenia are not, they're inconsistent, but they're not usually to be considered like a San Marino, definitely not. Ask Wales, ask Armenia, ask Germany, who they've beaten, Republic of Ireland, Wales, they've taken some scalps. Then England, another stroll to victory, 2 more goals for Kane. I heard a commentator say that they should not include him in any games they play in March to see who could play instead of him, because I think there's an over-reliance on him at the moment, and there's a little bit of concern that they don't really have, if he were to get injured, anyone else. So his name's obviously the first to go on the plane, so don't pick him, figure out who else works in that position. I think that's a really interesting idea. Yeah, so there's calls for him to be weirdly dropped because he's their best player, he's definitely going, and there isn't really an equivalent anywhere else in the team for him, so they want to try some people out. France beat Azerbaijan 3-1. Azerbaijan have started to score more goals, they're getting better. Serbia beating Latvia 2-1. Ukraine with that very important victory over Iceland, 2-0 to nil, Zubkov and Hutsuliak. Yeah, it looks like quite an even match actually. Israel beating Moldova 4-1, and then Italy were winning at San Siro with a goal from young Esposito, but then Nusa, 2 more from Haaland, and 1 from Strand Larsen, getting 4 goals in San Siro. I can't quite believe it. That is a sensational result to finish off qualifying. That is a team who is very, very confident right now. Congrats to Norway. Czechia beat Gibraltar 6-0. Germany beat Slovakia, who earlier on had beaten them. Slovakia had won in Slovakia 6-0. Another goal from Voltemada, Gnabry, Sane, Baku and Ouedraogo. Plucky Malta again, 3-2 victory for Poland. Lewandowski back in the goals. Szolek and Zielinski were the winner on the 85th minute. Yeah, very, very good performance from Malta there. Croatia narrowly beating Montenegro, who were winning. Netherlands beat Lithuania 4-0, and Northern Ireland beat Luxembourg, Donnelly with the penalty. Austria managed to get that draw that they needed, Gregoric with a 77th minute equaliser to put them back to top. Bosnia had been top of the group up until the 77th minute, so bad luck for them. I think they've been to one World Cup previously, haven't they? Belarus-Greece, another excellent result for Belarus, 0-0. Belgium beat Liechtenstein 7-0 as you'd expect. Bulgaria then surprised Georgia with a 2-0 win. I don't know why it's done that. Rusev and Kratsev with the goals. And Kosovo managed to get a draw with Switzerland, so I'm thinking I don't want to draw Kosovo in the playoffs because they are looking like a good team. Romania got their revenge for not qualifying directly or in second spot with a big win, 7-1. Then that match, I talked about it a little bit already, but well done to Scotland. It's lovely to see them back in the World Cup. Congrats, guys. 4-2. So Tierney, so the McTominay, it was basically like who can score goal of the season. So McTominay with an overhead kick. I didn't see Shankland, I think it was just at a corner. Tierney then with that dipping, sort of curling drive, absolutely amazing for outside the box. And then, when Denmark were pushing forward, McLean scored from the halfway line with a chip over Schmeichel. So yeah, it was just literally wonderland. The thing dreams are made of for Scotland. I'm so happy for you, and if Wales don't make it, then I'm definitely going to be supporting Scotland in the World Cup. So congrats, guys, and let me know how your heads are feeling after the celebrations. Talking about celebrations, 2-2 for Turkey in Spain. Now, if you remember, Spain battered Turkey in Turkey. That is a very good result, considering as well that they were winning. So Olmo scored first, then Gül and Özcan made it 2-1 before Oyarzabal scored the equaliser. So that is a very good result again. Turkey, a side I would like to avoid in the playoffs, please. Sweden have got their first point under Graham Potter with a draw. Lundgren getting the 87th minute equaliser against Slovenia. And last but not least, Wales 7. I've never said that in my life, so I'm going to say it again. Wales 7, North Macedonia 1. I think we last scored 7, I think it was like 50 years ago or something. Harry Wilson, with his magic left foot, 2 penalties and a free kick from outside the box, was involved in absolutely everything that we did, captain for the night. And to be honest, I think now that Ramsey is more or less finished and Ben Davies is not playing for Spurs and injured, I think going forward, I think Harry Wilson and Ethan Ampadu should be our captains. Really good choice by Craig Bellamy to do that. He is by far our best player. Brooks had a fantastic night. Johnson, thank the Lord, looked absolutely untouchable. I think he's been so upset by his performances. He started off slowly for Spurs, but has got better as the games have gone on. Obviously scoring and then getting sent off in the Champions League, but then scoring in the next game as well. And there was this weird article on the BBC before the game saying, you know, the sort of mystery of Brennan. because he didn't get picked against Liechtenstein. He came on with like 5 minutes to go or something. And people are just saying that they're really unhappy with him. We were in the game against Kazakhstan, and bearing in mind that he's worth 50 million, which I think is like more than the entire squad of Kazakhstan, and they were sitting quite deep. The ball came to him on the right wing. He would take about 2 seconds, turn around and pass it backwards. And he did it about 20 times, and even the commentator was commenting on it at the time. He was like, is Brennan Johnson going to try and take on his man? Bearing in mind that last year, I don't know about this year, but last year he was the 3rd fastest player in the Premier League. Why isn't he taking people on that are playing the Kazakhstan Premier League, you know? No disrespect to them, but he should be doing it. He should feel more confident to do it than even doing it in the Premier League. So I don't know what's been up with him, but he was spoken to at the end of the match in an interview, and he said that he loves playing for Wales so much that he's been really unhappy with his performances, and he's absolutely over the moon with his performance that evening, because he loves playing for us so much that he's been quite upset with how badly things have been going. So, because I think I read on Reddit that he reached out to the Welsh FA when he was a youngster for Nottingham Forest and said, by the way, my mum's Welsh, I'd like to play for Wales, please. So he found us. So, you know, we didn't look for him. He sort of said, I'm Welsh, I'm growing up in Nottingham, and I'm in their youth programme, you know, their youth team. Can I play for Wales, please? So it clearly means a lot to him to represent Wales for his mum, and yeah, he was absolutely amazing, really, really good. Dan James scored. He was brilliant. He just took people on again and again and again. And Broadhead now, if his goal hadn't been ruled offside, well, he wasn't offside, foreign offside, in the previous match, he would have scored 2 in 2. He is actually one of our best finishers. So I can see a situation where he plays up front for us a bit more now. Someone was saying about his score rate for Wales, it is actually quite high. I think he's got like 4 in 14 matches or something like that. He scored in his very first outing against Belgium for us once as well. So it started off quite well. He just gets injured too much. So yeah, absolutely incredible. We basically didn't play with a striker. And scored 7. It's funny. So basically Harry Wilson was coming back here, Cullen was roaming around this part, James was actually down here, Brooks was there, and it was just the give and go. And Sheehan is the perfect person I was dreading, because he's a terrible tackler, but his range of passing is absolutely wonderful. So what was happening was, we'd build an attack, they'd pass to him, he would spread it wide, Jan James would run, but then Brooks would make an underlap, and he would either pass to him, but then Nico Williams would make an overlap. So this poor guy here had literally, Nico Williams was in the box more than anyone else. So he had Nico Williams running this way, or Dan James, and then either Brooks or Nico Williams like going inside of him. They didn't know what to do. They had absolutely no idea of how to deal with that at all. And then on this side, De Silva wasn't as attacking as Nico to stay back with these two. But then Cullen, who is a striker, was also doing the same thing. And then Wilson would come over, so he also had an absolutely tormented. He was tormented the whole game. And yeah, we just did this thing where, rather than stand there and have the ball passed to him, he would. So they were runners everywhere. I've never seen our team play like this. If he was stood there and they passed to him, then these two would run past him. And so he wasn't passing back, he was turning around and passing on to these two runners, and then they were like, oh my god. So yeah, their defence, who normally, like I said, 3 goals, including 2 matches against Belgium, and they were completely overrun. It was so entertaining to watch. I mean, their goal was absolutely pathetic. They literally was 2 passes, and our goalkeeper fell over in the rain, and they just literally, Miovski just put it into the back of the net. So we're still playing that attacking. Obviously we're going to be bad in defence, but yeah, who cares? We like to play entertaining stuff, even if we lose. So that's that. Let me just, well, I don't think I'll do another video next week on the playoff draw, because obviously that's not happened yet. Let's move away from UEFA for a bit then, but well done to everyone. And breathe. Okay, where are we going to go next? We're going to go to Africa. No, so there's not Africa, there's Asia. We'll do this. The UAE had a double, so home and away playoff against Iraq. I said Iraq would narrowly win it, and they did. 2-1 in the second match. Ali and Al-Amari with a penalty in the 117th minute. So commiserations for the UAE. I thought they might make it at some point, but they haven't managed to this time. But Iraq are in the Intercontinental Playoffs. Congratulations to them, Mubarak. In Africa we had further shocks. So in the playoffs we had, of course, Nigeria, Cameroon, Gabon and DR Congo. Gabon were one of the better teams to finish second of the whole lot, so I was wondering what would happen, but Nigeria dismissed them with a 4-1 win. 2 goals from Osimhen. Actually it was 1-1, and then they scored 3 goals in extra time, so they did take them to extra time. And Cameroon straight out, Noah Burmo in the World Cup. Chancel Mbemba, Newcastle fans, if you remember him, scoring the only goal in the 91st minute to put out Cameroon and set up the final match. And Nigeria scored early on through Onyeka, but then Osimhen got injured and went off, and at that point Nigeria, according to what I read, were in control, they were fine. And as soon as he left the pitch, bearing in mind that they're in this problem because he didn't play for them, and as soon as he came back into the team, fit and well, they did better. So they've got a massive over-reliance on him. I know how amazing he is. He's obviously absolutely amazing. But still, you can't play through one player. So DR Congo beat them on penalties after Elia equalised, and they've made it to the Intercontinental Playoffs. That's fantastic news for them. So congratulations to them. And then North America, CONCACAF. So Panama have made it to another World Cup. Congratulations, just edging out Suriname, who were hoping to reach their first ever one. They go into the playoffs. Curacao have made it to the World Cup. They are now the smallest nation. They're even smaller than Cape Verde. So they have made it to the World Cup. Congratulations. Jamaica narrowly missed out, and they will go into the playoffs. And Haiti have finished top. They have made it to one previous World Cup 51 years ago, and obviously there's a conflict going on within Haiti, so the manager has never been to Haiti and he's qualified them for a World Cup. Honduras finishing second, which means that Costa Rica, who were my pick as the 4th best team in the CONCACAF region after Canada, Mexico, USA, are out entirely, which is a massive shock. The last round of fixtures, they needed to win against Honduras, and obviously the red card coming from Spartak Moscow's Ugalde in the closing minutes is one born of frustration, I assume, when they realised that they weren't getting through. So Honduras held on. Guatemala beat Suriname 3-1 to end their ability to finish top. Haiti scored 2 against Nicaragua, Luisias and Providence. Jamaica drew with Curaçao 0-0. Panama beat El Salvador 3-1. Blackman, Davis and Rodriguez. And Trinidad beat Bermuda 2-1 with goals from Henry and James. Curaçao are a side I've had my eye on for a while. They are basically made up of Dutch players, so Dutch born with Curaçaoan parents, a little bit like Jamaica, and I'm all for it because Wales do this really well. So you've got people like Richard Libazour, Floranos, people you might recognise, Leandro Bacuna, Tahit Chong, came through the academy at Man United. And then we have Jürgen Locadia, who played for PSV, Kenji Gore. Yeah, so very familiar names. Armando Obispo does currently play for PSV. Dick Advocat, he's even the manager, former Rangers manager. So yeah, they've just got all these players from the Dutch leagues who are eligible to play, and now they are going to be in a World Cup. So congratulations to them. Suriname have done something similar, and they nearly did it as well. Jamaica have done something similar, and they nearly made it too, so they can still make it, but they've got to go through the playoffs to do it. And then very briefly, let's talk about the friendlies, if we do this. So the friendly games, see if I can find them quite quickly. So Saudi Arabia, right, it was the previous day, I think. Let's do the same. Scroll down, they have the friendlies. I'm looking for USA, let me have a look on. I found Mexico, it was a 0-0 against Uruguay, who are one of the best teams in the world at the moment. I think Uruguay are fabulous. And I think the bit of controversy was that they played their first home game in Mexico. They usually play in the United States for various reasons. And they played in Torreon, and they got booed. And you know, people, who was it who said it? Was it Raúl Jiménez sort of said, you know, criticised the crowd, and he said, you know, that maybe this is why we don't play more at home. But I think that Mexico are going into the competition with quite low confidence, low self-esteem with regards to their form and the support they're getting from their home crowd now as well. So yeah, it's a bit of a weird one for them. I can't seem to find the USA match. I'm going to have to... Oh, hang on. Here we go. So then the USA beat Paraguay. They had previously had a really big win as well. Let's look. If I do it this way instead. 5-1 against the Uruguay, who I literally just said are a really good team. I was very shocked with that result. And that is one that they should be really happy with. But yeah, they beat Paraguay, and then there was an all-out brawl at the end of the match, which I love to see. I love to see a bit of passion. You know, people often, particularly in Europe, especially in England, often say, "Oh, you know, the US, they don't really understand football. You know, they don't get it. They don't even call it the right thing. They call it soccer." But yeah, to see the USA winning matches and having a good old brawl at the end, what is more European than that? So yeah, well done. You're in excellent form. And I can't see Canada, but I know that Canada were in fantastic form. Let's see if I just search you. Canada. So they were on, when they beat Wales in the last window, which I went to see, they were on this unbeaten streak. Yeah, where they still... Oh, they've lost to Australia. So they beat us and they were on this massive unbeaten streak. So in the Nations League they lost to Mexico. But apart from that, they hadn't won in ages. They've lost to Australia, drawn with Colombia, who were excellent, drawn with Ecuador, which are amazing at the minute, and they have beaten Venezuela, who are a decent team as well. So I think both the USA and Canada are on very good form. I'm a little bit worried about Mexico's form at the second because the fans are not happy. Yeah, they haven't got any... They won in the Gold Cup final against a youthful USA team, but apart from that, draw, big loss, draw, loss. And maybe that was the one they got booed at. Where did they play? In San Antonio, Texas. No, it wasn't the one. If you know why they play so many games, I mean, obviously there's an expat community, but why do they play more games in the USA than they do in Mexico? It seems strange. If you know, let me know in a comment. I'm going to finish there. This is a long video, but I knew it was going to be a big one today. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all your support. Looking forward to your comments. Looking forward to your reactions from the matches. Are you Welsh, Scottish, Irish? Are you absolutely over the moon? Are you Hungarian, devastated? Let me know. Danish, absolutely can't understand what happened. Let me know in the comment section, and I will do another quick video next week on the draw for the playoffs. And then we don't have to wait long, because in December, I think the 5th of December off the top of my head, they're actually drawing the groups of the World Cup, regardless of the fact that they haven't got all the teams qualified yet. So we are going to be, I don't know how they're going to figure it out, because I can't see them giving Italy a seed 4. So that's what happened to Wales. That's why we had such a hard draw last time, because we were down as a seed 4, even though we would have been a seed 2. But because we went through the playoffs, and because we had to play against Ukraine at a later date, they just put us into the pot as a seed 4. So we got a really, really difficult group. So I don't think that'll happen again. But I'll be interested to see how they decide on drawing a World Cup without all of the teams there, especially with a World Cup winner. How are they going to handle the Italy situation? Interesting. Okay, video coming next week for that. Don't forget to like the video, do that hypey thing. I don't understand how it works, but do it if you want. Comment, and of course subscribe. And I will see you again very, very soon. Thanks everyone. Bye 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 bye.